Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today I'm Bancroft, being joined once again by Jimmy, Jason, and like always, Fluff.
That's right.
What's going on, fellas?
He says exciting, but what he means is exciting.
And like always, there's buttons down below. Feel free to click them, they're there for a reason. Today's matchup is the definition of stall against stall. Towa versus Trunks Youth. We hadn't had a chance to put this one on the channel yet, so I finally decided to make it. You all will see Fluff's Rigarn in a later date. But these are, I think, the last two leaders that we haven't had a chance to showcase yet, and we're trying to give them our take finally. So if you all see anything that I do or something that I should probably change up, let me know in the comments. But let's take this away. We've seen Towa a lot. Wait, were you going to say, Jimmy?
I didn't say nothing.
Oh,
What are you on about?
I thought I heard someone. My bad. I'm going to go ahead and go into a little description about Trunks U for those who aren't familiar with it. When the leader is played, it plays the field card, which is it takes one life, and you can search top 3 cards of your deck for a Unison, which is pretty nice. It helps you get the Unison you need because the effect, the activate main on this card is if your opponent has 2 energy, you could play the Unison, specifically Tapion, Hero, Revive, and rest with 2 markers on it. So it's a nice, cheaper way of getting your Unison on the board, and immediately +2, which keeps it alive. I found this deck it can be very aggro, but only in the mid to late game, which is kind of weird to put that out there, but if you get the energy and you get what you need, you could just battle card, battle card, battle card, battle card, battle card, battle card.
Yeah, I found it very interesting to play because this is the first time I've ever played or even seen the Trunks deck, so it was pretty cool to play against.
Yeah, no one's brought it yet, so
Yeah.
And I will say part of the reason that this actually was my first game ever playing with this deck as well. We didn't get really a chance to do a test play prior, and this match went on a little bit longer than usual. And so you'll see the speed I had to use to increase it is really fast this time around, about 250%. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, that tends to happen a lot, especially because of our locals and how all of us tend to play multiple different decks and we switch them up every week. That sometimes you have to like slow it down and really think about what you're doing, and even then we still make some misplays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what was it last week? I misplayed the Dark Dragon Ball. I think I played 2 in 1 turn last week.
And here I'll just let you know.
Yeah, Bancroft was letting me know right there that I couldn't do that.
And here I catch it. I think I bring it up to you, and I realize like, oh, you didn't. I'm not sure when I catch it, but I explained to you that you forgot to. Right there, it's +1 to your Unison, because you're able to still do the +1 without actually using the effect.
Yeah, see, I didn't know you could do that too. I'm fairly new with this deck. I think it's my, 3rd weekend maybe?
Yeah, and you definitely have learned a lot since then. Like, you charged red, and I'm like, what are you doing, man? You never charged red.
Yeah. Last weekend, there was I think it was my first game I did forget to charge red. And then the second game, I purposely didn't charge red because I didn't get any red cards until towards the end. And I was like, well, the chances of me getting Topo now is pretty slim. And then I ended up getting it off the life towards I think I had 2 life left, and it was the one. It probably would have helped me get to the next round, but I wasn't able to play it since I didn't charge red. So now that's usually the first thing I go for now is just go ahead and just charge red and get it out of the way.
Yep. Towa is such a odd deck to pilot, because it is a very non-linear deck. You have so many paths and options and different ways to build it. Where you can go the very aggressive route with like the Xeno Janemba stuff, or you go the defensive green-yellow route with the slug. And then I know you run the slug package, or a smaller slug package, but you also run the red Broly package as well.
Yes.
So it makes a really difficult deck to pilot, And making like minor mistakes like that, like forgetting to charge a red energy early on, is something that is just so simple to do because your brain is in this other dimension while your deck is in this dimension or your hand is in this dimension.
Yeah, totally. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think I might change the deck this slightly. I'm either going to go with more of the Dark Broly or just go completely the other side of it and do more of the multicolored Xeno stuff like Lord Slug. Be honestly, like, I do have a bunch of stuff to support Dark Broly, but I hardly ever use it, to be honest. I usually go after either the Boo or the Lord Slug.
Of course.
Because, I don't know, they're way better, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Towa is best played as like a defensive lock deck because there are situations that you can put on the field where it's like your opponent just literally cannot overcome your defense, and then you just peck away at their life for the following turns. So I feel like that's a fantastic way to play the deck. So Bancroft, you mentioned the what is it? That's the music box, if I'm not mistaken, the field card.
Foreboding music box, if correct.
Yeah. And he pulls out that Tapion Unison. You want to talk about that Tapion Unison? Because it's been kind of making some waves in the competitive scene lately, especially in Soul Striker builds.
So, the best... I'm going to compare this... So I play two different Unisons in my deck. They're both 3 costs. I play the Tapion, and I play the Unknown Parasite. The difference between the two of them is the power. Unknown Parasite's 15, Tapion's 19. They both have a +2 allows you to draw, but Tapion you have to put in rest mode to get the draw. And typically when your opponent, when they see Unison as a threat, this is a Unison that your opponent may not go after because 19k is at least one additional card from your hand just to remove a marker from. Mm-hmm. And the +0 on Tapion, though, boosts your leader by 10,000 power.
Yeah.
Now, I don't play a lot of Soul Strikers. I don't know if Soul Striker naturally boosts themselves, but I know in this particular deck, this leader has a Spirit Boost ability, which can give himself additional 5k and Double Strike. So that mixed with the Activate Main on the Unison is a 30k Double Strike leader right away.
Yeah.
And if you were to Spirit Boost during your turn, you can actually bounce a battle card to your opponent on your opponent's field back to the owner's hand if its energy cost is equal to or greater, if I'm correct, than their energy. Mm-hmm. So it's a good control card for Spirit Boosting. And there's a lot of new cards that came out in the set, like the 4-drop Tapion I've already played, which is a 1-cost card for Spirit Boost, and then if your opponent had a card, you could bounce that, and now you have a Double Strike 20k on board that draws a card on play as well.
That 4-drop Tapion reminds me a lot of like the Bardock Apes. Like it's such little energy investment, but gives you so much board presence. I think it's a fantastic card. But I'm sorry, what were you going to say, Fluff?
I was just going to touch on. I really love the fact that the Tapion Unison actually, instead of just regaining markers when you gain Spirit Boost, actually punishes your opponent for you using Spirit Boost. Like, where we're in this mid-range control type format post the emergency ban, Tapion's effect is incredibly relevant in a large number of matchups.
Mm-hmm.
And which I think that is one of the things that kind of edges him out over baby Parasitic Menace, even if on the one side of it, Parasitic Menace has a more abusive effect.
Unknown Parasite.
Unknown Parasite. Yeah. Sorry, Parasitic Menace is the
5-drop red.
Yeah.
And to touch on, you were talking about it being a 19k Unison, which is a hurdle for a lot of decks to get over on early. And since you're able to crack that out very quickly with Trunks, same thing goes for this Dark Shenron Unison on Towa's side, where it's a 16k Unison. And when I was playing this deck, I don't know if you've experienced this, Jason, but people just turn their card like a card sideways at it and go, "Okay, I'm gonna swing at your Unison," and you go, "Okay, they won't combo the deal. Leave it at 15. I'm like, oh, it's 16. And they're like, oh, well, shit. Okay, well, and then they just don't worry about that unison for the rest of the game.
That's pretty much how it worked. I think Bancroft did it too, and I think I was like, hey man, it's 16, not 15. And I'm definitely sure that Scotty did it as well at our game after me and Bancroft. He's like, okay, well, never mind then, just let it bounce. And then pretty much, yeah, just like you said, everyone kind of leaves it alone. I don't have too many people go after my unison, to be honest.
Like, truth be told, when Jimmy played this deck a lot, I kind of knew how to deal with that unison's effect. So I just didn't care. Like, I chose to swing double strike into your lead to bait out and negate or potential hit you with a double strike, And I mean, you took with me, but I was able to use Trunks to get rid of the card. But most of my cards I played, though, are 20k or higher, so it doesn't really even matter.
Yeah, your cards did a very good job of keeping mine off board. I wasn't able to play a whole lot of cards for more than just a couple of turns.
And here I'm just establishing our blocker. And these blockers are like, for 1 energy, as long as you have, if I'm correct, 3 or more energy, you just pay 1 energy to play them, and they draw a card as well. And they're deflect. Like, there's no, like, unique, there's no only permanent, like, only one can be on the board, or if there's one there, you yada yada. Like, you can just play them all for 1 energy and just draw a card for them.
Bancroft and I had a greaser of a match where it was blue on blue. Sorry, and then I'll back out. But I wish we had got that on camera, because you mentioned the blue's ability to constantly keep your field reduced. Like, that is really the strength of this deck. And it also reminds me of Turles. So it's got the huge lead, but then it also helps keep your opponent's field clear.
Here we're kind of going over your minus 3 effect. And we eventually get Jimmy over here just to confirm something. And then I completely didn't realize the card says it's start of your main phase, not your start of your turn. Because there are some cards I think it said, like, start of your turn, do a effect. But this is after you charge. You could go ahead and do the minus 3 right away for its effect. And I was kind of explaining to you, you can play cards from your deck or from your hand, but I have the ability to counterplay before that even happens, which kind of changes what you should do in that case.
Right.
Yeah, this unison is insanely good. And to touch on earlier, like talking about getting rid of the unison early on, it's like you should go after the unison if you're struggling with the Towa matchup. But I'm sorry, Jason, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I think I ended up going with the effect anyway, bringing out 2 cards. I can't remember, to be honest. I thought I did.
You do. Like I said, it was a very interesting rolling. I was also explaining to you, like, because Towa reduces cost in your hand, you could play 4 drops from your hand if I don't say counterplay. But you went to your deck instead. And you do pull out, if I'm correct, which we'll see in a second, the Frieza, a Broly, and a Slug.
Yeah. So in cases like this with the blue matchup and the Trunks counterplay specifically, or any counterplay that bounces the cards back to hand, since they're all played at the same time, they will all get bounced to your hand. So the strategy is announce that you're going to minus 3. If they counterplay with Trunks, then you go in your deck, choose 3 2-drops, and those just go to your hand. And you basically draw 3, you plus 3 off of the unison.
Yeah, which isn't a bad thing.
Not at all.
No, if there was a card in the game that gave plus 3 for no energy, it would be banned so fast.
Right.
No.
Yeah. So here I was basically just trying to put down 2 cards that I can attack with, and then leave Lord Slug out just so I can bring out the 9-drop later on Bancroft's turn.
And I think at this point I had a very decent sized hand. So I think a lot of your attacks, I don't think I negate much at all during this turn. I felt pretty confident, and I think it might have been this turn as well. I felt kind of scared after a while. I'm like, did I make a mistake? Not sure. And like,
I believe
you don't.
I believe you used 1 block.
Yeah, I think I use at least one blocker. But like you still have 4 open energy after all your attacks, if I'm correct. And
Yeah.
it can be scary, like not knowing what your opponent can do.
Yeah, I was basically trying to leave my energy open for your turn. That way I could play very defensively pretty easily.
I mean, keep in mind, depending on the cards in hand, it could be better just to, okay, so there was a negate there. It could be better to just, if you think you get the game, go for it. Now, granted, you are playing against a blue deck that has 3 open energy now. And I think, yeah, you tried to play the Frieza, the Boo.
Oh, Boo. Yeah, Boo. It's good. I really like Boo, and especially when I get this close towards, like, if I'm, like, 4 or under on my life, I try to play Boo. That way I attack with him even if you negate. Basically, I like playing him just because most of the time people will go after Boo instead of going after my leader card. So it kind of like helps me push the game back just a little further or a little longer, just so I can kind of like get more cards in my hand to do other stuff in my next turn. Because most people have to discard 2 cards just to swing at my leader.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I did have a counterplay for it, so I kept it off the board. And here, I think we're going over, like, I think, doesn't Frieza or the Broly have, like, an effect that involves something about attacking leader or something as well?
The 4-drop Boo.
Is it just the 4-drop? Okay. I thought the Frieza has something as well for some reason.
No, that Frieza, if I remember correctly, if you have 7 or more cards in your hand, I can attack cards in active mode.
That's right. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, and then the Broly, just if you KO it, then for 1 energy, I can play the 7-drop Broly.
Yeah.
For my deck.
So I went ahead and Spirit Boost, but I didn't send anything back to your hand because I could have sent the Topo, but it's already served its purpose. It doesn't need to go back to your hand.
Why load the gun?
Exactly, yeah. And here, I was going to... you were like, I can't use the effect. I'm tapped. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to play it anyways. Why not? And just clear your board. And... yeah.
For Towa, I don't mind people going after my board, just because, especially with the Lord Slug, it's a blocker. I'll block with it, and then play the 9-drop, which is the double blocker. And then its effect, if you kill it with a skill, is pretty awesome too.
Oh, for sure. So now you kind of have to start over. I'm a little bit safer now, without you having all those battle cards on there. I don't feel the threat of a crackback, but I do have 1 open blocker and 2 energy going into the turn. And I forgot to remove the marker off the trunks. I think I fixed that later. If I don't, we don't incorporate that boost.
If I remember, like, you end up taking it off eventually. I remember you say something about it. But yeah, at this point in the game, I have a lot of energy, but not a lot of cards in hand. So, this game took a little longer than I thought it would.
We had a lot of stuff going on in our locals, and I felt like there was a lot of questions being asked. And like I said, this is a new deck that I'm playing. You're finally getting the hang of your deck. There are some like hiccups here and there, but I mean, this is part of the game. We're still learning new things.
Yeah, practice is definitely key.
I think here I'm kind of going over like potential plays with the trunks to Jimmy.
Yeah, because I was asking Jimmy a question right here about that the Towa card I was getting ready to play. It was more beneficial for me just to tap 1 energy to discard it out of my hand instead of actually playing it.
You all are kind of getting into a spot in the game where the blue deck is going to start shining. and having more options to deal with the Towa player field. So this is a really bad spot for a black deck to be in, where the game has gone to the point that the blue player is now having it in a spot that they want it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I had the energy, but didn't have the cards in my hand that I wanted at this point. Yep. So basically, now all I was doing is just kind of stalling the game out as long as I could.
Yeah, and that's all you can do at this point.
Hey, Pax.
Hey, there you
go. This Trunks, at this point in the game, isn't really special, but it is a 1 energy cost Trunks that can swing on my turn for 15k, immediately pay 1 energy, and play Trunks from it as well. The 4-drop Trunks, that is. So the Boo comes out in play. Yay. If correct, I knew what your board could do, and I felt like I had the opportunity to counterplay it, but I decided not to.
Yeah, I was surprised you didn't.
Bancroft, talk about that 4-drop Trunks that you were included in here. I don't know that it ever hit the field, but how did you feel about that?
So it's on the board right now. I absolutely love this Trunks more than I thought it would.
Oh, it is on the field. Okay, yeah. Okay.
I don't think I talked about it, though. The activate main for it, you choose one of your non-unique blue cards, blue Saiyan or Earthling cards with energy cost 3 or less. And you put it, I think, the bottom of your deck, and then you go through your deck for the for a Tapion, a card with Tapion in its name, which could be the battle card, the extra card, the Unison, because they all have Tapions in its name, which is really nice. So you could grab whatever you need off that. I do not recall off the top of my head if it has an energy restriction, like if it has to be like three or more energy, or if you have to have a Unison in play. I can't remember off the top of my head. But when it plays, it bounces a card as well. So here's the interaction reason why I saved my counterplay right there. I had a way of getting rid of his 9-drop by doing Spirit Boost, and I knew he would activate Blocker as soon as I swung off a battle card. And as soon as he went to go pay that energy, I said, all right, I'm counting time when the 1 Trunks, the card you're pulling will go back to your hand. So now you're tapped out, and I'm in a very comfortable spot right now.
Yeah, I honestly shouldn't have tapped the energy to go get it, because I should have realized that it was in my hand and not in the deck. But I already did it, so I had to keep going.
And so here I established, I swung at you. I cleared your board, swung double strike, you negated it, swung with another double strike. And here I'm just kind of like, I think you had a decent hand. It wasn't like a super low hand or it wasn't a super high hand. So I just didn't want to go all out just yet. And so that's why I'm kind of just 1-drops swing. And this is what I love most about this combo. With 6 energy especially, for every energy I spend, it's practically a 20k battle card swinging into your life.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot I could do at this point in the game, especially with you having that many cards and that much energy.
So the way these I think it's called Combo of Justice cards, both Videl and Great Saiyaman. You pay 1 if you have a Unison, I think with a specific cost of 3 in play. You pay 1 energy to play this card. There's no restriction on this card as well. No unique, no if there's not already in play, yada, yada, yada. After you swing, you activate main, Spirit Boost 1. You play the counterpart to it, so either Videl or Gohan. Put the said card at the bottom of your deck, and the card that you played has its skills negated. And then I turn around and you play another one from there, and just swing that one, and then you activate main to pull the one you just bottom decked as well. And it just worked beautifully in that moment.
Oh yeah, it was pretty epic way to end the game.
So with that being said, hope you all enjoyed today's matchup. Keep in mind there's buttons down below and on the screen while Fluff does the outro.
What do you all think of the emergency ban list? Let us know in the comments below. Is your favorite deck relevant? Does it have a chance to stand at the top of the meta? What do you all think about that? As we're seeing stuff like Trunks and Towa are the types of decks that are going to come back really strong. So click on one of these 4 videos. Hopefully it's relevant to what you've got going on and what you think about the game. But as always, read your cards, know your place. Let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to. Fluff out.